deal? What's the deal? What's the deal? So, getting straight to it, picking up where I left off. I'm not gonna make this a long, drawn out video because I prefer to keep your attention. Um, but picking up where I left off, basically at the county jail level. So I had already discussed basically the ways that at the end of the day, it's easy to basically control and um, get a grip on the violence and the potential dangers that are at hand and that's taking place every day, rather it be in court or in these modules, you know. Um, and like I said, that is to basically, from the gate, find out where people from, put people where they from, put them with their allies, because like I said, they got spot after spot, place after place, bed after bed, tier after tier, dorm after dorm, where they can put people. LA County, we got a lot of space. We got a lot of space, you know. And the thing is with that is, uh, as much as they would try to use any and everything to validate as to why they are continuing to operate the way they operate, if we are basically, um, if we basically uh, living by what we preaching, because at the end of the day, by bringing me to jail, you telling me not to live this violent lifestyle, right? By bringing me to jail, you telling me I did wrong for living a violent lifestyle, right? So why put me in this situation and breed this violence in these situations that you have me in? You feel me? Why are you condoning this? If this is not what you want me to do. If you know that you're taking me from somewhere in society because of the fact that I have a violent mentality, or I did this or I did that, basically I did wrong. Why are you putting me in a situation as to where I can do more wrong? Why are you putting me in a situation where you're breeding, you know, the where you're setting the stage for more violence? What part? How are you doing your part? By basically from there making the corrections that need to be made in order to change me. Because I feel like that should be the goal with incarceration. The goal shouldn't just be let's get them out of society. The goal should be to let's correct them. The goal should be let's make these people better. Let's actually teach them a lesson. And I don't mean teach them a lesson like, you know, uh, let's put them through some shit and put them through the worst of the worst. Let's it's kind of like this, to put it in simple terms. Back when you was younger, I used this analogy earlier when I was talking to my partner, talking to my neighbor. Um, Back when you was younger, if you got whoopings and shit like that, but let's just say everybody did, right? Back when you was younger and you got your ass whooped by your moms or your pops, whatever, um, the ass whooping wasn't meant to harm you. The ass whooping was meant to deter you or to teach you. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I feel like the same should go for incarceration. It shouldn't be to harm me. It shouldn't be to fuck me up. It shouldn't be to put me in these situations to where certain things can happen. I think that it should be to correct me. It should be to deter me from making the same mistakes that I've made. So with that ass whooping when you used to get, you sometimes just got your ass whooped and they told you to sit the fuck down. But at some point in time, most of the time, you got a lecture, because now there is the lesson that's taught in order for you to know the next time you faced with this situation what decision you are expected to make. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, but if you had the proper parents, they basically gave you a recipe, they gave you a guideline, they gave you something you to go by, basically showing you like, okay, this is how you navigate that next time. You feel me? Instead of just crashing out, or instead of just doing this, or instead of just doing that, this is how you navigate that situation. So next time you come across this situation, if you don't want your ass whooped again, this is how you navigate that situation. This is how you can avoid getting your ass whooped again. You feel me? So I think it's the same thing with incarceration. I feel like at the end of the day, um, from the gate, I feel like from the gate, soon as you touch the county, it should be a process of corrections being made. So as soon as you get to the county, you getting involved, and and honestly, a lot of people might not agree, because a lot of people, honestly, a lot of people are stuck on a certain type of mind frame and mentality, and that's part of the problem that we have today, because some people are all for the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't see the bigger picture, or because they feel like the bullshit is necessary, or whatever it may be. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, me personally, I'm not going I'm not really gonna knock them. I'm not gonna sit here and try to. But if we can have a conversation about it, and we can, bounce, our opinions off of each other without, it turning into an attack on either side, then yeah, like that's always, that's all. It's always potential. It's always opportunity for that. But because like I said, I'm always willing to discuss whatever it may be, because I might be wrong about something, and I want to know what I was wrong about, or where I went wrong, in the situation, or, how my perspective might be wrong. So going back to what I was saying, I think from the gate, it should be, and a lot of people is fucked up to where they don't want to do shit. They don't want to be corrected, and they lazy and all type of other shit. So, it's like, oh, I don't want to, because I'm going to keep it real with you right now in prison. You feel me? In the situation that I'm in, to, just keep it real, I might be a little hypocritical, because at the end of the day, I'm low key like that for as my situation. Like, I'm not doing no CGA classes. I'm not doing no, I'm not doing all that. You feel me? Because at the end of the day, I feel like, me personally, I feel like that's a, that's putting too much on my program. At the time, for the longest I've had a job. So to go to work and then come back, and then I have to, hurry up and get back to what, then go do some other shit, go sit in this class, when 9 times out of 10, based on the environment, based on how this shit is set up, this is not gonna work in my favor, because at the end of the day, yeah, on paper they're gonna say you did this class and this class and this class, but then they're gonna say, oh, but then you gotta write up for this, you gotta write up for that, and all this shit was mostly necessary based on the politics, based on, the environment, based on the situation I'm in. So at the end of the day, it'd be like, man, that shit is all for what? So, outside of that, um, now if we talking about some trades and stuff like that, that's cool. But like I said, I had a job, so a trade is kind of far fetched to be going to school for a trade and going to work every day, because the hours kind of conflict with each other. But going back to what I was saying, um, I think from the gate, soon as you come to county jail, that the focus should be correction. I feel like the focus should be, okay, look, you in here, this is what you did. So they need to have individual um, opportunities, how can I say, significant opportunities for everybody's significant situations. You know what I'm saying? Basically, if you're coming in here on some drug shit, I feel like as soon as you come in, you got a drug program waiting on you to teach you how to, manage your drug issue. You know, If you come in here on some stealing shit, on some robbery shit or whatever it may be, you got some classes to teach you other ways on how to, make some money and other ways to change your mind frame instead of thinking you gotta rob somebody. This is another route. This is something you should take into consideration. And not only that, but here goes some opportunities. You know what I'm saying? Here goes some opportunities for you. You know, because like I say, it's the resources are there. The resources are there, but society, and not only just society, but these politicians, they worried about the wrong thing. The people that's in charge, they worry about the wrong thing. And they all say they worried about something that they really not. So when it come down to it, like I say, it's easy fix. And these advocacies, they act like they, pushing for change and pushing for this and pushing for that. But then when they come, it's like, they really not putting in no real work. The only ones that I really seen really come in, step in, and get some shit done was the ACLU when that whole shit was taking place. I believe like in 2014 or 2012 or whatever, somewhere around in that time span where they came with all the cameras and that whole situation where they cleaned up the county for as how sick it really was back then, because like they said, it was people coming up missing, and then they had the police that was had this little like I guess gang within theyself, and they called theyself like the 2,000 boys, and some crazy shit. I don't get too much into that because I don't really know too much, and it was before my time. I wasn't really in jail around that time. I wasn't doing jail time around then. But long story short, getting back to what's important and what's my point. Um, I feel as though, like I said, you should have classes and you should have programs and you should have opportunities available for these particular situations. As far as like I said, if you out there robbing shit, if you out there doing drugs, let's just say you out there committing violence, and I don't agree with this shit at all. And my stance on this is for sure, what it is. But at the end of the day, for those who, because I can't be biased in this video because it's all type of shit that go on, so I gotta tap in on every last bit of it. So for those that's involved with shit that's coming to jail for sex crimes and basically like rape and molestation and all that shit from the gate, they need they need work. You know what I'm saying? They need work. They need help. They need the tools that they need to deter them, because it's really not for them. You feel me? It's for they victims. It's for the people that could be potential victims come later on down the line. But if you just putting them in jail, and then it's crazy because I'm not gonna get into all that right now, but a lot of them people, they get the slap on the wrist and then they get kicked right back out. You feel me? But these gang members and shit, we gonna hold them. We gonna hold them. You feel me? But these little molesters and all this weird shit, and they get slapped on the wrist and they get kicked right back out. Sometimes they don't even go to jail. They shit dropped to some bullshit and then they be right back out. But like I said, and then let's go to people that's carrying firearms, right? Those who don't have records, I feel like at the end of the day, you get caught with this firearm, we gonna give you a shot. So look, this is what you need to do. We gonna let you out on whatever, OR, whatever, we gonna let you out. But this is the deal. You feel me? You got a certain amount of time, you feel me, to get your gun license. You feel me? If you want to carry a gun, this is what you want to do. We do have the right to carry. So it's one of our it's one of our rights. So at the end of the day, I believe it's the Second Amendment. I could be wrong. I'm not one of those. So at the end of the day, if I'm wrong, hey, don't shoot me. But at the end of the day, okay, boom. You get caught with a gun, so boom, this what it is. Because a lot of these young dudes don't know, that they can, they 18, 19, 20 years old, whatever it may be. Honestly, I think you gotta be like 21 or 25 or something like that to actually have a license to carry, which, I don't know, but long story short, You want to carry a gun, whatever, you got to get your gun license. And if that's the case, if you got to wait till a certain, all right, boom, we're going to give you this slap on the wrist now. But, it should be some type of avenue, some type of something that where you can work that in to where, boom, okay, they kept. But now, if you commit a crime, if you just shoot, because, some of these young dudes carrying these guns for protection. They not carrying them because they going to go do something to nobody. They carry these guns for protection because the environment they live in is dangerous. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I feel like it should be some type of intervention. Then it should be some type of correction. It should be some type of offer of assistance. You feel me? And like I say, here you got this amount of time to go holler at these people right here. Here go the list. If you want to, this because at 18, I believe you can have like a shotgun. Shit like that, like what you call like recreational type weapons and whatever, whatnot. And then there's other weapons that you can have. So it's like, look, these are the weapons that you can have at your age. You feel me? Until you turn this age, and then you'll be able to have a firearm. And when you get to this age, this is what you need to do in order to be able to, carry a firearm. Not just immediately, oh, you had a firearm, you underage, you was 18, whatever, and you was carrying a firearm, so you got concealed weapon, and now boom, fuck, nah, hell no. You know what I'm saying? Let's change that. So going into other crimes, far as just like I say, far as the violent crimes, you feel me? Like shootings and everything like that. Let's have some gang intervention. Let's work on the mentality. Let's find out what's really going on with this person. You feel me? Let's have them sit in these classes. You got CGA in prison. Well, prison is too fucking late. You know what I'm saying? If you got CGA and all that in prison is too fucking late. You feel me? Like, we already here now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to have that. And not only in county jails, you need to have it at schools. In these urban areas and in these schools that's in these gang infested areas, you need to have some type of CGA, criminal gang. I think it's anonymous or some shit like that. But basically, it's a program basically, to deal with people that's involved in gang life. You feel me? And give them another way and show them another mentality and basically stuff like that. So long story short, you should be having those programs in these high schools, in these middle schools, and not only that, but when these dudes go to this county jail for these little gang crimes, instead of saying, oh, let's slap them with gang enhancement. You feel me? Let's slap them with gang enhancement and take their whole life, or put an extra 5 and 10 and 20 years on them and all that. Since they want to be in the game, we're going to take them out the map, period. Take them away from their families, take them away from society. Instead of that, why don't you show them another way? You know what I'm saying? Let's show them another way. And like I say, going back into the whole county jail thing, let's make it a corrective thing as soon as they step into play, and don't put them in this environment where you are breeding the same, mentality and the same, you basically contributing to the mindset. You contributing to the problem by putting them in this situation where now you are forcing them to really put a foot to the pedal on this gang shit. So now it's like it's making them even, it's pushing them even deeper into the whole culture. You feel me? Gang banging, because now it's like, oh, that nigga jumped me, or them niggas packed me out when I hit the module. Them niggas ran me. Oh, I went in there and socked on whoop. So now I'm feeling like the most sickest nigga. All this. So you feel me? At the end of the day, this is what y'all are setting the stage for. This is what y'all are facilitating. You feel me? Speaking far as the county jail. You feel me? This is what they facilitate. And don't get me wrong, this is part of the culture. This has been going on for years and years and years, but does that make it right? You know what I'm saying? Does that make it right though? Because some people enjoy it, does that make it right though? Because some people feel like, it does what it does as far as boys into men and whatever it may be. Does that make it right though? Because we could have did that a totally different way. And you, the same person that feel like this is how that's how that was the benefit of this situation. Well, what about you taking that time out to use your tools and your knowledge and whatever it is to turn that boy into a man the proper way, because you probably don't have them tools. You probably don't have that knowledge. And that's not forcing him deeper into the gang culture. You feel me? And then that's a whole nother thing in itself. Let's go back to the streets. Let's take just a second to step out of this jail thing. Let's go to the streets, because like I said, I try to be as unbiased as possible. Let's step into the streets. There's um, there's steps, there's ways that we could avoid. There's things that we can do, as the older generation, as far as influencing the younger generation. There's things that we can do um, to deter them, or to you know send them in the right direction. You feel me? So long story short, I'm gonna get into that in another video. Like I said, I didn't want to make this too long, and I just wanted to tap in and really get into it a little bit. But we gonna keep this going tomorrow, though. You feel me? Like I said, I was just really watching something. I was really thinking about something. It was heavy on my mind, so I said, let me just jump up. Let me go ahead and put something together real quick to, basically put on their brain. And then we'll get back to it once I'm really in the right mind frame, because I got a lot going on right now. But like I say, like, comment, share, subscribe. The most important thing is to share. The most important thing is to repost. The most important thing is getting the word out. You feel me? Spread this like a virus. You know what I'm saying? Because we try to make it to the right ear. That's gonna be the right voice to make it, to make the right changes, to make it, to make the difference. So at the end of the day, like I say, the most important thing is to reshare this, repost this. I don't care about the subscribers. I don't care about the likes. I don't care about the comments. I don't care. And it's not saying that I don't appreciate it. I don't appreciate every last one of them. I do. But at the end of the day, the most important thing for me is that you repost and reshare this. Spread it. Because I'm trying to get this to the right people. Me myself personally, I'm doing my research and looking at different advocacies and organizations that I can pump this out to. I'm sending them links, I'm sending them URLs, just hoping that one of them, the right one, catch wind of, and then the right one have to either contact me or get the ball rolling on whatever need to be done in order to make the change that we need to be made. Because it's a lot that needs to be done, so it's not gonna happen overnight. It's not gonna be easy, but at the end of the day, like I said, it does need to be done. We could need these enhancements knocked out. We need these jails to do their job on doing better. We're not gonna get all into the details, but at the end of the day, because I've already laid it out. If you watch all of my videos, or you watch the last two videos mainly, at the end of the day, they need to do their part. They need to do their part. So like I said, I'm gonna leave y'all with that, and I appreciate y'all taking the time out, and y'all have a good one. Stay blessed.